Lời đầu tiên chương trình xin được gửi lời chào trân trọng và cảm ơn quý vị đại biểu, các vị khách quý cùng toàn thể đã có mặt tại diễn đàn Thanh niên Internet này. Kính thưa quý vị, mục đích giao nhận với trẻ về quản trị Internet và khuyến thế hệ trẻ tích cực vào việc xây dựng dân số và tích cực. Sáng kiến Diễn đàn Thanh niên Quản trị Internet YIGF được tổ chức dành cho thanh niên, nơi những người trẻ được học hỏi và tham gia vào quá trình thảo luận. Các chủ đề liên quan như bảo mật dữ liệu.
We would like to focus on data security, privacy and AI. Em đang dịch rồi chứ? Em đang dịch rồi. Alo? We the ethnic Vietnet-ICT work together with the Vietnam Internet Association and the University of Social Sciences to organize this Youth Internet Governance Forum YIGF in 2 days, the 6th and 7th of November 2021. Attending this conference today, we would like to introduce the participant of the distinguished guest from the organizing committee, Mr. Michael Gray, Program Manager of the Canadian SecDev Foundation, Canada. Ms. Ngô Minh Trang, Director of Vietnam Information Technology and Communication Center, Vietnet-ICT. From the international side, we would like to introduce Mr. Ola Kanman, Head of Trade Promotion, Economic and Political Affairs, Swedish Embassy in Hanoi. Ms. Phan Nhung, Representative of Asia Pacific Network Information Center, ethnic. And particularly, we would like to introduce the participation of the students, 100 students who are outstanding youth representative of all the country, along with the representative of the international agencies and organizations, media, press agencies, experts. Thank you for taking part in this conference. Now I would like to invite Mr. Michael Gray, Program Manager, SecDev Foundation, Canada, will give the opening remarks. Over to you, please. Well.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me okay.
Xin chào các bạn. Hy vọng là các bạn đã nghe cái tiếng của tôi.
So greetings to all the participants and supporters who have joined the 2021 YIGF Vietnam event. This event is one we've been working toward for a long time. The SecDev Foundation and Vietnet-ICT began a partnership back in 2017 to promote digital citizenship in Vietnam, with a focus on youth and youth education. In early 2017, our symposium on digital citizenship was probably the first public event in Vietnam that introduced this term, digital citizenship, and discussed its importance for youth and the need to bring digital safety, digital literacy, and the other components of digital citizenship into the youth education curriculum in Vietnam. In 2018, the efforts of Vietnet-ICT and many other social organizations and donors in Vietnam helped the government to establish the multi-stakeholder network on child online safety. I also spoke at the launch of that network about the importance of including youth voices directly in the work of making the online world a safer place for all. After that, our next step in working together was to support a youth internet governance forum for Vietnam. And our first YIGF event was held as part of the Vietnam Internet Forum in 2019. The SecDev Foundation supports digital citizenship and internet governance initiatives in Vietnam because we believe it is very important for society, especially youth, to understand and have a voice in issues like digital safety, data localization, data privacy, misinformation online, artificial intelligence, e-commerce, e-government. These are all emerging as very important issues for government policy, and citizens need to understand and have a voice in these policy areas. How the digital world impacts daily life is a new and ever-changing terrain that needs to be at the center of how young people prepare for their future lives and for their future as leaders in a new digital society. This helps to explain why the SecDev Foundation and Vietnet-ICT have always placed youth at the center of our collaboration and partnership. We are very proud of the excellent work done by the YIGF Youth Committee members over the past 2 years, work that has led to this national event. Working through the very difficult period of COVID-19 lockdowns and limitations, the Youth Committee members have helped create and implement numerous outreach campaigns on our Trong Hack Facebook page, and they have worked tirelessly to make this event a reality. The YIGF Youth Committee members have set a foundation for youth in Vietnam to be involved in internet governance and internet policy debates in Vietnam, and to help bring Vietnam into a leading role in internet governance in the Asia-Pacific region and globally in the years to come. So thank you to the Youth Committee and to all the organizers and supporters of this event, especially my partners at Vietnet-ICT. I look forward to the event and to many more years of collaboration on internet governance issues in Vietnam. And to all the participants who have joined us here today, good luck and enjoy the 2021 YIGF Vietnam. Thank you.
Vâng, xin trân trọng cảm ơn ông Michael Gray.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Gray. Next on the agenda, to help you understand better the idea and initiative, we'd like to invite you to listen to presentation by Ms. Ngô Minh Trang, Director of Vietnet-ICT. Thank you. Over to you, please, Madam. Good morning. Welcome to this YIGF forum. On behalf of the Vietnet-ICT, we would like to share with you the opportunities for young people. My presentation is in 3 main parts. In the first part, I would like to talk about the initiative. Initiative as a YIGF. In the second part, we'll be talking about YIGF Vietnam and the salient activities and the opportunities for young people in internet governance. That is my third part. Now, for the Youth Internet Governance Forum initiative. So this is an initiative that was started by NetVision Asia, Asia NGO, a non-profit NGO, that was first held in 2010 in Hong Kong. And so far, many countries have implemented this model in their countries, and YIGF is the organization that ratifies this initiative in countries. And when this initiative started, it started with the purpose of raising the awareness of young people in internet governance, as well as encouraging young people in discussing and policy making process in internet governance, because internet governance is a very broad area, and it now lies mainly within the policymakers or the internet service providers. However, with the development of internet governance, now it incorporates different stakeholders, and in order to guarantee effective internet governance, the participation of all the stakeholders is critical, and the voice of the young people, the users, and the one who govern the system has been under researched and underestimated. So we started that initiative toward that end. Now for YIGF Vietnam, I'd like to share with you that this initiative was commenced in 2019 under the auspices of Vietnet-ICT and SecDev Foundation. And before 2019, we also were given support by SecDev Foundation, and Vietnet-ICT attended a lot of regional forums and conferences. And we can see that when we take part in this initiative, it's very suitable for Vietnam. So that's why SecDev Foundation and Vietnet-ICT wanted to introduce this initiative in Vietnam. And when we decided to do that, we consulted with different stakeholders, and we realized that this is a very important topic to be implemented in Vietnam. Since 2019 to now, we have gone through 2 years, and we have had certain achievements and ideas to share with you in the forum today. For YIGF Vietnam, regarding the active participation of the YIGF Vietnam, we want to develop a core young people generation who raise the awareness of internet governance in Vietnam. We have a link to the fan page and YIGF website. You can click on the link for further information to know more about the project and the project components. Now, regarding the YIGF Vietnam model, this is very different from other models in other countries. In other countries, they focus on the youth committee or the youth council, a group of young people who come together and organize the event annually. But in Vietnam, we realized that for this initiative to be supported better and to be better implemented, we have an advisory council that work in parallel, in tandem with the youth committee and youth council. We also realized that the role played by this advisory council is very important, because they provide the advice and counseling to the young people when in terms of fundraising. They work very closely together under the auspices of SecDev Foundation and Vietnet-ICT, and the advisory council and youth council have been working for 2 years, and they have a lot of interactions together. Now, the youth council, YIGF, at the moment, it consists of 13 young people who come from various backgrounds, most of the time from universities and schools along the countries, mainly in the north, and particularly in Hanoi. So, because they work and live in Hanoi, and it's easier to interact with one another. However, we want to expand this network and to incorporate young people from other regions as well. We have had Generation 1 and Generation 2. The Generation 1 we have interviewed directly and chose the core young people. For Generation 2, it has developed quite well. The people from Generation 1 has also taken part as interviewers and selectors of Generation 2. So Generation 1 has become an alumni network, and many of them have been with us from day one, and they now have become key key people in the workforce, and they come back and share their experience with people in Gen 2. So these activities have been under the support and auspices of Vietnet-ICT and SecDev Foundation. Now, regarding the Youth Council, the structure and organization of this Youth Council is also different from other countries. In that country, they don't have such a model, but in Vietnam, we discuss with the young people and we come up with a kind of steering committee. And this steering committee, we work together with the subcommittees to manage the activities and operations of the activities. We have 3 subcommittees. One is about content, developing outlines and action plans. The external relation subcommittee is for fundraising, and communication subcommittee is about disseminating our activities to the broader public. Now, the advisory council, in order to ensure the multilateralism, the participation of different stakeholders and experts have been given attention. For example, the government agencies, ICT companies, media agencies, and they are responsible for providing counsel and advice to the young people and working with them in their support. We hope that this advisory council will also get bigger so they can provide better support to the young people. Now, regarding the most salient activities of the project, since 2019 to 2021, they have implemented a lot of outstanding activities, including the YIGF 2019. And this forum 2019 is actually a sideline event of the Vietnam Internet Forum. And at that time, it was organized by the People Committee of Hanoi in collaboration with Swedish Embassy in Hanoi. And it was a sideline event. So when we introduced that initiative, we invited stakeholders to discuss this initiative. And it was very glad that the event attracted a lot of attention from the media and the government agencies and social organizations. And since then, this initiative has been officially kicked off and commenced in Vietnam subsequent years. And in 2 years, they have also implemented successful campaigns. For example, Quick Clever in 2020, which focus on target audience of 12 to 18 years. We developed game mobile and challenge social media to disseminate the issue of internet security on the 2 platforms, TikTok and Facebook. We also encourage parents to be with their children online, and within just 1 month, more than 1,000 downloads have been registered, and 3 million accesses have been seen on the platform with the participation of some key opinion leaders or KOL. Now, another thing we would like to mention here is the competition that was held in 2021. That is creation of comic which aim at young people 12 to 18 years of age. And the purpose of this competition is to help develop internet etiquette and code of conduct through animations and comics, different situations through which they wish to share the message with other young people. And within just 1 month, we have 2.5 interactions and 100 posts for competition. Now, I would like to talk about the opportunities in internet governance. When taking part in this program, we introduce here a roadmap for young people in internet governance. If you are interested in this forum, you can take part in many conferences, training courses, and then you can become the mentors who you will be guiding other young people in internet governance. And further beyond the line, you can become experts taking part in other more specialized forums. I myself have taken part in many conferences and forums around the world, and the people I talked to and met with actually did not necessarily need to have kind of technical background. They can come from various backgrounds like communications, media. The only condition is that they are really keen on internet governance, and this will bring them opportunities to interact, to exchange, and to contribute to internet governance in Vietnam and around the world. And to be more specific, I would like to share with you the opportunities. First and foremost, for those who are interested in the governance, you can become a member of the council, a core member, so that you can take part directly in implementing forum like this in subsequent years. And this group of people will be added to over the years, and the people we are having today will very much likely to become key and core people in subsequent years, organizing similar events. And if you are interested in this domain, you also have opportunities to take part in major conferences and forums in the region. YIGF, ICANN, Tiga, Ethnic are the organizations that sponsor a lot of young people to take part in major conferences and forums around the world to understand more about this topic. And they, when they take part, the young people will have a lot of opportunities to meet with other counterparts and their peers around the world and discuss issues about internet governance. Specifically, the Mission Asia. When you take part in this network, you will have a training course about awareness raising, improving your knowledge. You have opportunities to take part in different training courses to prepare yourselves better, to equip yourselves with better knowledge and skills. The APIGA, or the Asia Pacific Internet Governance Academy. This is an annual event where the young people had opportunities to go to Korea in 1 week for people who are of 18 to 35 years of age range. And next, other opportunities you can grab, for example, the YIGF, Asia Pacific Region Internet Governance Forum, which takes place in 4 days every year. And the participants can understand more about AI and blockchain, and these are excellent opportunities for you. Another one is Youth for IG, also an initiative about equipping knowledge and skills for young people through annual event like Youth IG mentorship. And when you are already experts, you will take part in Internet Forum in Vietnam, annually organized together with the Swedish Embassy and the Stockholm Internet Forum, which is held in Sweden, or Internet Governance Forum, or ICANN, Apricot, APNIC. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to take part in conferences, forum around the world. These are some of the photos of the Internet Governance Forum event that we directly took part in the past years. So that's also wrap up my presentation. I hope that Internet governance is a new issue, but after taking part in this forum today, you will understand more about it and you will take keener interest in this domain and grab opportunities for you to develop yourself personally and professionally. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Ngô Minh Trang. Ladies and gentlemen, over to Mr. Ola Carmen, Head of Trade Promotion, Economic and Political Affairs, Swedish Embassy in Hanoi, who will be talking about international experience in Internet governance. Over to you, please. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me the floor. I hope you can hear me all right. Dear organizers, dear participants, dear friends and young people of Vietnam, thank you for inviting me and the Swedish Embassy to take part today and say a few words about our experiences, ideas and perspectives when it comes to Internet governance and how to create a digital environment conducive to youth engagement and empowerment. This forum takes place in a context of a world that is increasingly interconnected, and Vietnam being one of the most connected countries in Asia with over 70 million users active on internet and social media. The digital society and the connectivity it brings, not least for young people, has fundamentally changed the way we all communicate. I'm very happy that you have taken forward and continued working with some of the issues stemming from the Vietnam Internet Forum, which, as we heard, the Swedish Embassy together with Hanoi People's Committee and other partners organized in the past, the latest one in 2019. Internet governance, freedom of expression, safety, and digital literacy remain key issues also today for societies. So that is why your engagement in this forum is so important. Today, I will touch upon some aspects of internet governance that I believe affect young people's opportunities to make use of this interconnectedness. The first aspect is about how to deal with the challenges that really exist and comes with the easily accessible information and communication. We should indeed recognize that there are challenges, and some of these have even been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, not least for young people and children, girls in particular. When students must increasingly rely on digital social platforms for its education, they are subjected to higher risk of exploitation and bullying, as well as the spread of mis and disinformation. A safe and inclusive digital world where everyone, not least young people, are protected and can learn, lead, decide, and thrive is therefore so important. And I would particularly point to two important things that are needed in this regard. The first one is a multi-stakeholder approach. Governments, companies, social platforms, entrepreneurs, civil society, journalists, citizens, we all have a role to play in sharing the responsibility to utilize the opportunities of internet and mitigate the risks in a way that ensure the safety of users, while at the same time upholding freedom of expression. And the second thing is enhancing digital literacy by focusing on education, critical thinking, and empowerment. And if we focus on ensuring that young people have the necessary skills to navigate false information online, they will be capable of fighting against false truths, misogyny, bullying, and incitement to hatred. On this second point, I want to mention the project Fake versus Fact that the embassy worked with a few years ago. We focus on media literacy and to empower young people to take advantage of all the information accessible online, but also to provide tools to question the reliability of information and sources. This work remains as important today as back then. Challenges exist, definitely, and they are real, but in essence, internet brings even more opportunities. Internet is an invaluable resource. The connected world has sparked innovation and entrepreneurship, offered renewed opportunities for citizens to make their voices heard, and for governments to be more open, transparent, and accountable. It fosters curiosity and it offers great opportunities to find new friends, learn new things, and connect to the world. And this helps people, communities, organizations, companies, and others to connect, organize, and act towards a common good. And let me again point to the Swedish experience. The Swedish tradition of curiosity, freedom of expression, and right to access to information has been instrumental to develop a society based on cooperation, equality, exchange of ideas, and diversity. The fact that Sweden has the first Freedom of the Press Act in the world, enacted already in 1766, has contributed to this as well. Such an environment acts as enabler and fosters great opportunities, not least for young people, to connect and participate in society, to educate themselves, to share and discuss experiences and ideas about life and politics, as well as empowering them to become more resilient. I think most of you know who Greta Thunberg is, but would you have known about her without the internet? Greta started to protest by herself outside the Swedish parliament in 2018, asking for higher climate ambitions. Through an open internet, her protest spread, creating today a global youth movement to fight climate change. Now, Greta and the young climate movement is a force to be reckoned with. We hear them all the way from Glasgow, UK right now this week. Without internet, that would have been so much more difficult. The third thing I want to address is the human rights aspect of the digital space. Because in the end, in our view, an open and free internet is indeed about the rights to freedom of expression and access to information. Journalists, civil society, human rights defenders, citizens, everyone should be able to make use of its right to freedom of expression, offline as well as online. Enshrined in legally binding human rights instruments, such as the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, but also in global agreements such as the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. These are obligations and commitments all states have undertaken. Repressive legislation and regulation do not only limit freedom of expression, it also limits people's ability to fully participate in society at large. Because while there are indeed challenges on the internet, all response measures must be fully in accordance with international law, including human rights. Using the challenges of internet and social media as a pretext to arbitrarily restrict access to information, freedom of expression, and enjoyment of other human rights means that states are not abiding by its human rights obligations. It is also evident that the digital space is not gender equal. Women and girls have disproportionately lacking access to internet and are not equally represented as agents online. Just to mention one example, Wikipedia is the world's largest online and user-generated encyclopedia. Its content influences and shapes readers' view all over the world. But Wikipedia has a significant gender imbalance. Around 90% of the content is created by men, and there are around 4 times as many articles about men as there are about women. When women's contributions are not seen, it affects our gender equality and our democracy. Concrete efforts are needed to rectify the imbalances that exist, both in the real world and in the digital world. Since 2018, I should say, Sweden has therefore, together with Wikimedia, regularly arranged activities in over 60 countries, engaging female users and encouraging more users to submit articles addressing women and girls. I encourage all of you also to join that work. To conclude, the digital transformation is here to stay and gives us great opportunities. New technologies already serve as important tools for addressing sustainable development, democracy and human rights, climate change, and corruption. All these are issues where young people continue to play a particularly crucial role. all over the world. And again, this is a joint effort where states, businesses, civil society work together to utilize the opportunities internet brings. States, because they must ensure respect for and fulfill human rights obligations, offline and online. Businesses, because they are instrumental in maintaining security and an open and safe digital space. And civil society, because they play an important role as watchdog for potential corruption or violations of abuses of human rights. So thank you again for inviting me to speak today. I wish you a very fruitful, productive forum, and good luck. Kamal.
Xin trân trọng cảm ơn ông Ola.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ola Kalman, for your speech. And in order to have some memory of this forum, please join us in a group photo. And we would like to invite all of the participants to come up to the stage, and those who are joining us virtually, please turn on your camera for a group photo section, please. The organizers, delegates on site, please go up to the stage, and those who are joining us online virtually, please turn on your camera for a group photo section. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We'll first have a group photo through Zoom, and then we'll invite the on-site participants to go to the stage. 1, 2, sorry, let's count down again. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you very much. And now I would like to invite the on-site delegates to move onto the stage for the group photo. Madam Chang, Mr. Thanh, and organizers, please join us for a photo section on stage. Thank you.
Xin cảm ơn quý vị rất.
Well, thank you very much. And we'll have a short tea break for 5 minutes, and please take a 5 minutes tea break, and please be back here at 45 past the hour. Thank you. See you.
Alo. Sao chị cứ nói, ủa thì cho ở trong này mới nói được này. Ngoài này chịu ấy.
Kính thưa quý vị, chương trình tạm nghỉ ngắn của chúng ta đã kết thúc và xin mời quý vị cùng quay trở lại với diễn đàn với phiên tọa đàm.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's resume our discussion. And we would like to introduce Ms. Trang, Director of Vietnet-ICT, Mr. Thanh, TikTok, Vietnam, and Ms. Thủy from Vietnet, and Ms. Minh Anh, Executive Board of the Youth Council. Ladies and gentlemen, you can ask questions to presenters and speakers through the chat box as well as on site. The voice is lost, sorry, the sound is lost. Sorry for the technical issue. We cannot hear the sound from the floor. Sorry. The ground floor, the sound from the floor has been lost. It's inaudible. Technician, please help us solve the technical issue. We cannot hear the voices from the floor. No. Ms. Thủy, can you turn on the mic and introduce yourself and your center? Good morning. My name is Thủy from the Vietnet, and I hope that you have known about this center. It's under the Ministry of Information and Communications, MIC. We are responsible for managing the internet resources in Vietnam and some critical infrastructure. And Vietnet, we also represent Vietnam to take part in Internet Governance and Internet Resources Forum. That's a quick introduction. Thank you very much. Now, my first question is for Ms. Chan. When we talk about the topic of this forum today, the multidimensional perspective, multinational or multilateral, how can we understand it? Multi-stakeholder, multi-dimension, so for young people to take part in the Internet Governance Initiative. What are the long-term benefits and impacts? Thank you for your questions. I would like to say that first of all, when it comes to Internet governance, this is a very new topic in Vietnam. However, in the world, as I said earlier, the Internet Governance Forum actually has been in place since 2010. In Vietnam, Internet governance, when we hear about such a thing in term, we talk about multi-stakeholder approach. So by multi-stakeholder approach, we mean that for the Internet governance to be effective, we need to have the participation of different stakeholders with different responsibilities and benefits. So when we talk about the Internet governance and the functioning of an ecosystem aside, we need to have the participation of government agency, the academic circle, the private sector, and the Internet users, as well as the experts. And we need to have the participation of platform companies like TikTok. Very important. So for Internet governance to be really effective, the stakeholders, of course, will have different interests So they will have differing benefits and responsibilities. But for a system to be really up and running, smooth, effective, all of these stakeholders must work in consistency, and we need to talk about standards and regulations that all the players need to abide by. So that's the reason why in this forum we employ the role-playing mode, because role-play serves a number of purposes. First, young people in the next few years, they will be taking part in the workforce, and in role-play we have different representatives, for example, from the private sector, the government, the internet service provider, so that the ecosystem will cover all the players. So when they enter the workforce, they will work as one of these roles that they play today. So when they have understanding about such role, they will be better knowledge and skills when they work in reality. So young people are very active users of internet. They are also the one who govern the internet. So by taking part in that process, they will make the decisions about their own future and how the internet should be operated, because they are the operators, but also the beneficiaries, and also people who are impacted on by the internet. So that's why the understanding of internet governance and awareness of such a process is very important for young people in Vietnam. Thank you very much, Ms. Chang. So we can understand from what you have just said is that the role of Vietnet-ICT, VA or USSH and YIGF and other initiatives for young people in internet governance is very important. I would like to invite another stakeholder that Ms. Chang mentioned from the industry, private sector, represented in this forum by Mr. Thanh from TikTok Vietnam. My question for you is, now TikTok now has been used by many young people, especially the Gen Z and millennials. So my question for you is, such a social platform like TikTok, what kind of directions, orientations do you have to contribute to a healthy and active digital environment? Thank you, organizers, for allowing TikTok to share with young people our perspective and ideas. TikTok is a platform that has been used by tens and dozens of millions of people in Vietnam. So at the very beginning, we wanted to develop a kind of environment that is safe and friendly. That's one of our top priorities. Now, you know that we need to create a safe playing field. So we need to have law and community standards. And to develop such community standards, we base on international experience and conventions, compliance with Vietnamese law, and respect for Vietnamese culture in developing community standards. So the people who register for TikTok use, they will see community standards, which will be publicly released on our website. And we also organize a lot of campaigns to educate people, to help them understand more about the community standard and the etiquette, the internet protocols general, and TikTok in particular. We also have programs to encourage civilized behavior on our platform. For example, in 2021, we have a campaign called Kindness, and we use videos by TikTok creators to disseminate kindness, disseminate the values of life. We are very surprised to see 1.3 billion views for this program. And last year we organized a campaign, Think Before You Do, meaning that we need to think carefully before we do something online. For example, when you take selfies or make video recordings, before you make a video, you should watch around to see whether you put yourself in a dangerous position, whether the setting is suitable, or whether you leave any garbage behind during such process. So little by little, we will develop a kind of very healthy environment for Internet users in Vietnam. Thank you, Mr. Thanh. And we can learn from Mr. Thanh sharing that we feel somehow more safe when we participate in the Internet environment. Now, a voice from the government agencies. Ms. Thủy from VN-ICT, my question for you is, in the past time, VN-ICT very active in promoting using Internet resources in Vietnam, and our domain is also one of the most looked after search for domain in the region. So what is the meaning of such a process in developing Internet in Vietnam? And talking about Internet development in Vietnam, I know that the mission of VN-ICT, Internet for All, Internet for everyone. So how has VN-ICT renovated the activities to encourage the coverage of Internet use in Vietnam? Thank you for giving me this opportunity to interact, to take part in this forum, and through this forum to share with you the information we have. Now, as I said, VN-ICT Vietnam is under the Ministry of Information and Communications, in charge of managing the resources, the identity number, and the domain IP address, and the data must be managed. The domain is also a parameter that is very useful and very close to the users, rather than the more technical factors. Now, the development of the Internet resources is also an indication of the development of Internet development. Internet in Vietnam, thanks to the right policy of the government, Internet has developed very strongly in Vietnam. By the estimation we have, the number of users in Vietnam Internet is nearly 70 million people out of a population of 100 million. So we are one of the highest proportion of Internet users countries in the world. So the development of Internet resources also create the foundation for development of Internet in the recent years. Now, for the Vietnam.vn, this is the kind of domain that is given the authority to develop by Vietnam, and in the past 10 years, our domain has been on the top in the Asia Pacific region. Now, Internet resources can create very good, strong foundation for the development of Internet in Vietnam. I can share with you, for example, enterprises, leading enterprises of VNPT or FPT or Viettel have been much closely linked, associated with the development of internet in Vietnam. So Vietnet has gone through different phases of development. 2011, 2012, when the resources were running out, we have a strategy to look for the opportunities for Vietnamese enterprises to use bandwidth, broadband, and moving from IP4 to 6 generation. The Vietnet also is reporting to MOIC to switch from IP4 to IPE6. So the new generation of IP6 is about 45%. And Vietnam is one of the top 10 countries in the world that is employing IP6 in the largest number. So the infrastructure for internet development in Vietnam, for example, DNS system and the fundamental parameters. For example, the national DNS is just like a heart of the internet system in Vietnam because it helps us navigate in the internet environment. Especially for Vietnet in the past decades, we have been a silent contributor to this development, and we always try to link the internet development in Vietnam with our mission. In the coming time, for this mission to continue, we will continue to spread the message internet for all, for everyone, for every household. And with such a mission, Vietnet believe that we, on the one hand, have to manage and develop internet resources, Internet Vietnam, but at the same time, make sure that the systems are safe. For example, Vietnet, and we have to make sure there are strategies to upgrade our work in different perspective. For internet resources in Vietnam, we need to move along the international line and trends. In the coming time, other countries will switch to IP6, and Vietnet will continue to lead the way, so that this IP6 also employed strongly in Vietnam, as has been laid out in the digital transformation in Vietnam, so that we also be using this IP6, and we also try to link internet development in Vietnam with digital economy, and we will be aim to become one of the top 20-30 digital economies around the world. So we also want the Vietnamese citizens, especially young people, 18 to 23 years of age, will be having free registration in the domain, so that they can contribute to development of the domain and the internet system in Vietnam. We also expand the activities. For example, Vietnet recently worked with international organizations to introduce international systems into Vietnam. For example, the root server has been introduced in Vietnam, so they can have internet connection, or even when there's disruption with the world. Now, for community development, It's also one of our key objectives of Vietnet. In the coming time, we will try to expand our scope of activities and create more information for the internet community in Vietnam. We hope that Vietnet will be able to accompany with other partners, share the information about developing standards on the internet, the opportunities that we have like today with Vietnet-ICT. Thank you, Ms. Thủy, for useful information.
Và tôi có một câu hỏi dành cho Minh
Well,
Anh.
I would like to have a question for Mr. Tang with the internet development in Vietnam. According to a We Are Social survey this year, Vietnam has always been in the top list of countries in terms of internet utilization ranking, with up to 70% of population using the internet. But there is a concern that among the leading countries in terms of the digital citizenship or internet use, we don't have Vietnam in the list. Minh Anh, you're representing the youth and young people, and over the years the council has been very active in sharing the internet governance knowledge. Can you please share your own lessons learned and experiences in this regard, please? Thank you. Well, here most of the participants are 103 ambassadors and other young people, so I would like to identify myself as I, and we started in 2019 March, and I'm one of the first member of YIGF. Back at that time, I was a young student, and now I've joined the employment, and COVID is a sudden shock, and YIGF was planned to be organized in 2020, but it's delayed for several times because of COVID-19. So we've been overcoming so many challenges, and luckily enough, we've got support from multiple stakeholders. So we had, so we are able to organize the YIGF 2021 on November the 6th and 7th. And I think luckily enough, we have young people, youth, to join us to promote the movements. And YIGF has been organizing multiple online forums, specifically the mobile app on the click for change for children and for young people to improve their awareness of the internet and the safety on the cyberspace. Part of the reason is that young people are heavily users, but they don't have much understanding on the safety on the internet, because internet governance is a new topic for Vietnam, and partly it is new and not relevant to Vietnamese youth. So YIGF wants to have a new approach that is familiar, practical for the young people to get connected and to understand each other. And the mobile game is for that purpose. And in addition to that, we also have an online campaign, which is a social network resistance, with some innovative for online comics or storytelling, online storytelling, for us to share the stories on internet governance, security, etc. Those are the initiatives by YIGF over the years to improve the awareness of internet utilizations and governance. When it comes to lessons learned and difficulties and challenges, I am a student and head of the steering committee of the council. I think the significant challenge is to connect the young people towards a set target of improving the internet governance knowledge raising the voice for them to speak out on the internet. When it comes to human resources, YIGF participants have various backgrounds. They may have medical, psychological backgrounds, etc. So we need to strike a balance between their private life and internet for young. And we also have people who are very busy. They are joining us in the alumni network. So the experience or the lessons learned is that we have been strong together, joining hands to address the issues, overcoming the challenges. In addition to that, we also have training courses within the YIGF. We were established in 2019, but after 2 years, we were launched, and within that 2 years, we had so many different training courses on soft skill, on communications, internet knowledge, improvement courses for the young people to understand and to be able to spread the information out to a wider scale. We want to receive and when we want to contribute as well. Thank you, Minh Anh, for sharing your experience. So with lots of feelings from a person who has been with the council for 2 years, and I wish the council under YIGF to be successful in the years to come. And the participants can drop your question in the Q&A box or the chat box. Now I'm going to read the questions set by the participants. Meanwhile, you can still drop your questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand in the room for interaction with the speakers. The first question from Nguyễn Hoàng Mai Thi for Ngô Minh Trang from social organization. Should you set up a set of rules for information security for your users? What will be what will they be based upon? Well, thank you, Mai Thi, for your question. Well, actually, when it comes to personal data protection, I think worldwide there are a common best practices. The GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. In Europe, it is a regulation for information protection ratified by the EU. It is a framework for you to refer to understand more about personal data protection. In addition to that, to start with the data protection journey, I think it needs to start. We need to start from a multi-dimensional or multi-perspective approach, because we have so many different stakeholders. So we want to look at it from a multi-dimensional perspective in order to come up with a community standard that is relevant. Of course, there are common requirements. However, when it is applicable to a specific community, it needs to be tailored or customized to fit that community. That's why each of the platforms or each of the company, they have their own community standard, because there are subjects to serve that are different with different interactions. In addition to that, you also need to pay attention to different local requirements in different host country. For example, in Vietnam, we have different requirements. So you need to be updated with the development trends. Because here now we are sitting here with certain technologies available. However, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, there might be additional technology advancements, and we need to adapt with those technology advancement or changes that are affecting ourselves and the one we serve. Thank you. Well, thank you, Ms. Chang, and I'll read the next question for Ms. Nguyễn Thu Thủy from Vietnet. Nguyễn Phú Lực has a question that during the digital transformation, what are the potential risks to the internet users from the state management perspective? Well, thank you for the question, and I would like to share my perspective on this. Actually, the digital transformation is seen as a certain trend, and it's been happening. And when we are transforming ourselves into the digital age, of course, digital transformation and digitalization are the must. And there are pros and cons and risks and challenges, and the risks are closely related or associated with information protection or privacy or safety and security in the cyberspace for users in the cyberspace. So that's why the state management authorities and related stakeholders who are engaged in connection and serving the interest of the users, they all care about building up a clean, safe internet and information environment, which is a safe digital environment to protect privacy and personal data of the users of that environment. And from digital citizens' perspective, we are all digital citizens. We need to equip ourselves skills of a digital citizens, and I think this forum or the state management authorities will create an enabling environment. As I said previously, in the time to come, Vietnet identifies ourselves as a body who is going to share the disseminate the knowledge, contributing to the dissemination of information to improve the skills of the community users serving our community during the digital transformation journey of the country. Thank you. Well, thank you, Ms. Thuy from Vietnet. The next question from Phạm Cao Bảo Ngọc on what are the basic things but needed for young people or for internet governance. I think this is addressed to Ms. Chang. Can you please? I would like to repeat the question. What are the basics but essential things or knowledge for internet users? Well, when it comes to internet governance, it is a broad and comprehensive, inclusive concept for internet utilization and for young people and users. I think young people can learn everything, and they are really quick in learning new things, much faster than us. Gen Z people, they are born with the technologies, so the approaching technologies and knowledge is very straightforward for them. However, for them, for Gen Z people, what you need to prepare is your mindset, your preparedness for the changes that are coming. And once you are prepared and you have the preparedness, knowing that you are going to face certain changes, you know how to update yourself or equip yourself with needed skills, and internet governance will also help you to be more confident, to be more knowledgeable, to transform yourself and to integrate into the world in the future. Well, thank you, Ms. Chang. Mr. Lâm Thanh from TikTok would like to add, the first part of the question is a little bit relevant to me. And I think I would like to share one very important thing in the internet for you to join the internet safely. Firstly, I think you raised an excellent question on personal information protection. There are basically three building blocks. First, the state needs to have a legal framework for us to protect users. In Vietnam, we are preparing, drafting a decree on personal information protection, and I think it is a good premise. Secondly, the platforms, including TikTok, Facebook, etc., they are all responsible to have tools to protect their own users, personal data of their users on those platforms. The platforms need to respect personal data and information, not utilizing them for irrelevant purposes, and they also provide tools for users to protect their own credentials, including the two-factor authentications for them not to lose their credentials. And what is more, it is also related to the latest questions raised by the participant that how can we join the internet environment safely? There are basically two important aspects. Firstly, you need to manage your own information. There are young people who easily share their personal data, including their phone number, their in the recent case, the QR code on vaccination for the COVID-19 pandemics. Once they got the second shot, they immediately share the QR code publicly on the internet, and the QR code contains a lot of their personal information. Secondly, you also need to manage or control your time. Normally, the young people, once they have a passion, like a passion for gaming, they cannot manage the time themselves, or even if they really like programming, they devote all of their time for this hobby. They have no time for other activities. This is important. Time management is important. So for young people, I think they need to firstly protect their own information, and then time management should be well undertaken for the young users.
So now we'd like to invite Nguyễn Ngọc Quý. Please unmute and talk directly. Good morning. I would like to ask a question for government agencies. I learned for 12 years in the school, but I did not know how to protect our personal data. And I chose IT as my major university. But for my friends who learn other majors, they have little awareness of data protection. But at the moment, we don't have any plan in place to help young people to protect their data, personal data. Is it one of the shortcomings of the education system, and how can we improve that? Now, one question for private sector. Major companies like TikTok, Facebook, take one of the revenues from the advertisements. So how can we make sure, how can you rest assured that you don't sell the personal data of the users to other third parties? I went one time to corporation number X to buy a smartphone. 3 or 4 days later, I received thousands of telesale calls. So was that possible that my data, personal information has been leaked? Thank you, Quý, for the two questions. The first question is, you asked the government agencies about education system not being able to equip young people with internet or digital skills. This question possibly is directed to Ms. Thủy. Ms. Thủy, do you think that you can answer this question? Thank you. This question you ask is very broad and it requires participation of many stakeholders. From the perspective of Vietnet Việt Nam, I'd like to share with you from our perspective. Actually, we're talking about equipping digital skills with digital literacy for young people, and this is very important for young people. I totally agree with Mr. Thanh opinion that each stakeholder should be held accountable, including the government agencies as well. We are the state regulators, government regulators, and we are responsible policy making, formulating policies. Actually, we have the young people at the center of our policy making process. We take it very seriously, and we at the Vietnet Việt Nam, we all try our best to connect with the community and to share the information, educate the community. At the moment, we also have information programs that equip better skills for digital citizens. Now, for the students, we also have an online learning material, online academia. You can go there and learn more about internet resources and other skills and knowledge about safe internet use. Quý, your question is mainly about education. So if you attend tomorrow's session, we will have a representative from the Ministry of Education and Training. Let me add to the answer to the question. This is a big question, not only for you, but also for the whole government and all the stakeholders. In July 2021, the government Prime Minister signed program decision 830 about protecting children on the cyberspace 2021-2025, which incorporates a lot of sub-programs about educating young adolescents about how to have a safe life on the internet. And the Ministry of Information Communication, MOIC, has also established a network of protecting children online together with Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs, and international organizations like UNICEF or One Vision, and even telecommunications companies like Viettel or VNPT, or even international platforms like TikTok. We were also invited to take part in that executive board steering committee. We hope that in the coming time we will have more concrete programs to develop products that provide guidance not only to young people but also to adults, parents, teachers, so they know how to accompany, assist their children, their pupils to behave in a civilized and safe manner on the environment, internet. So I think the second question is also suitable for you to answer. He was asking about the personal data leak And could you repeat the question, the second question you wanted to ask? Yes, the businesses may exchange customers' personal information with one another to serve their business purposes and for advertisement. Actually, globally, there are agreements and ethical rules and regulations. At TikTok, we are committed that without the consent of the users, your personal information will not be shared with a third party. And when you go TikTok, you'll see that when you record a video, and if in that video there's information about you and other people, then that video will be blocked. So that also somehow help prevention of leakage of the users. So the mechanism we have in place actually much more thorough than the users themselves have, because we know that the users now have little awareness about the danger of personal data leakage. So we platforms are responsible for such an endeavor. So thank you for your explanation. We also receive signals from Nhung Phan. Is it Miss Nhung from Ethnic? Yes, I would like to share some more. Actually, this is linking the two questions together by Ms. T and Mr. Quý. You asked about the most essential knowledge about internet governance should be equipped to young people and adolescents. We also asked in Vietnam, there was no equipment for them from grade 1 to grade 12. Only when he went to the university did he learn about the way to protect personal data. Is it one of the shortcomings of the education system? So my observation and my perspective is internet governance. What is essential knowledge in internet governance? Actually, there's no concrete definition. In the world, there is no country, according to what I know, no country has introduced this into their general education curriculum as well. But it's true that in countries where the community has better understanding, then they have training programs. For example, India, they have Indian INSIX, School of Internet Governance. So, and so Chan said earlier about after the government career, it's also an initiative to train young people, young citizens about internet governance. So basically, the training for young people, regardless of their background, is the internet ecosystem, what it is all about. So this will help them to become smarter in using internet services. They need to know what is deep tech, what is a big tech, and what are the roles of the government agencies, the roles of the international organizations. For example, domain.vn, what is its role in the overall strategy of the internet development? Now, for example, lychee, if they use IP as a domain for the sales, then it's problematic. So if you have an or understanding of the ecosystem of Internet, then you will behave smarter and more civilized manner on the Internet. I totally agree with Mr. Thanh that the attitude and the decision of the users when they choose to behave on the Internet is very important. The attitude is important, but that attitude must come with knowledge, understanding. So I really hope that we can have an kind of initiative, especially from YIGF Vietnam, so they can have a kind of training for the young people, adolescents. They can be equipped with basic knowledge about Internet ecosystem, not only in Vietnam, but elsewhere in the world. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Nhung, for your sharing. So as I listen to you, I recall what Minh Anh said earlier, that it's lucky that we are still here and we have the participation of many organizations and agencies. So if there are shortcomings in certain areas, we have here the agencies and the stakeholders, so we can take prompt measures. We still have time for one or more, two more questions. The next question is for Minh Anh. What is good about having an understanding of Internet governance? Now, what are the benefits? Actually, for me, as a user of Internet and as someone who has been working out there, I think there are personal benefits and social benefits as well. When we know about the Internet, we know how to protect ourselves. If we know the law, some people say before you want to know how to circumvent the law, you need to know the law first. So we need to know how the Internet works, and we will know how to protect ourselves. I myself work as a marketing officer, and my understanding of domain.com.vn, for example, will help us perform our tasks more effectively. And when we know about that, we also share with other people. I took part in YIGF project with UNESCO in Vietnam, which is for young people in Asia Pacific region. When we know about domain name, we will find it easily to interview the experts and post our writings on website like YIGF Vietnam. So when we know the domain name, we will make sure the information is suitable so the audience can understand, is accessible to the audience. YIGF, you know, Internet is a very broad world, and we can also still understand more about the Internet safety. Training courses are very useful. We know who the users are and what they need. And when we know about that, then we can help others better and help ourselves in our work as well. Yeah, so it's very beneficial from different perspectives. I would like to reserve the final question from Linh Chi. For Ms. Thủy, you talk about the digital transformation process in Vietnam. Is the young generation outside this process, or how are they impacted? This is a very good question that we can wrap up our session this morning. I would like to share with you the information about the statement made by the Minister of Information and Communications. Talking about digital transformation, one term we need to pay attention to, that is digitalization. digitalizing the information. Second term is digitalization, the application of ICT, and third one is digital transformation, in which we digitalize all the activities of individuals and organizations on the online world. So digital transformation requires change in the behavior and change in the attitude rather than changes in technology. So it has impacts on all the organizations and individuals. So the young people are both the beneficiaries and also the players, the contributors in this process of digital transformation. So they can be by no means be outside this process. And all the organizations and individuals taking part in this process, from the private sector, from the government sector, all need to take part in this process. And for that to be safe and beneficial to everyone, then we need to equip the relevant people with the right knowledge and skills. I hope that young people will equip themselves with knowledge so that they become effective and reliable and safe internet users and internet citizens, digital citizens. So thank you, Mr. Lee. So the online environment is not outside the general development of the country. So young people need to be proactive in managing and governing the internet, equipping yourselves with necessary knowledge and skills. So ladies and gentlemen, the morning session has come to an end. Thank you very much for being very interactive in this Q&A session. We still have this afternoon and the whole day tomorrow. So there are ample opportunities and time for you to ask questions and park your questions until they are answered. And thank you to express our sincere thanks to the specialists and the panelists. I would like to introduce Ms. Chang and Minh Anh to present our gifts to Mr. Thanh, who is here physically, and another gift will be sent to Ms. Thủy, who is taking part online with us. Thank you. Once again, thank you very much, the panelists and the participants, for taking part in this panel discussion. Now, I would like to introduce Ms. Phan Nhung, the ethnic representative, talking about the promoting diversity and empowering women in Southeast Asia, in ICT, and introduction of switch.
Good morning. Do you hear me clearly? Yes, sir, we can hear you clearly. Especially, I would like to say hello to the ambassadors, participants, the students who are the ambassadors of the YIGF 2021 today. Firstly, I apologize that I cannot turn on my virtual background. I cannot set the virtual background because my computer does not support the virtual background. So sorry about that, not being able to set. Normally I can borrow my kids' computer, but he's having a examination. I'm young. First and foremost, I'm a digital citizen in Vietnam. I'm progressive and I'm civilized. A typical digital citizen here in Vietnam, who is very progressive and civilized. I'm always aware of the responsibility to develop a more civilized internet environment as a topic of our forum today, which is a civilized, responsible digital citizen and a safe environment. And if we have time, we will have a look at the typical digital citizen and what is it by a more civilized and more progressive digital citizen. I'm lucky to be invited as a mentor for the group of ambassadors who will challenge each other in the tomorrow's discussions. But today, I would like to share with you the SecDev project. And before sharing about the project, I would like to share some background information. I worked in the internet industry for over 20 years, since the beginning of the internet in Vietnam, with the features, functionalities that were very basic. And now we have been having a very developed internet ecosystem, but we also need to face different challenges and difficulties throughout the journey. Actually, the internet governance has only been point and been there since 2015. It was not there at the beginning of the internet. And throughout my journey in the industry, I think the penetration of the internet governance concept into myself is very natural. And I think it is also very deep inside of me. However, in Vietnam, a technical community, we do have a technical community, including the Vietnet community. They set up a community of NOC, Network Operation Group, which is a technical community. In addition to that, we also have other communities, including the open source community, cloud computing community. They have been developing so fast, but those are all the technical communities, but we haven't got internet policy debates groups. They are part of the big forums, but we haven't got a throughout community. And in Vietnam, we haven't got a national level internet governance forum, while other countries in the world, they do have internet governance communities. And in this reason, in different regions, they have a regional forum, and globally, they also have the Global Internet Governance Forum headed by the UN. And from that backdrop, I think we are disadvantaged here in this internet community in Vietnam not to have a internet governance forum. So when Vietnet-ICT initiated this, the youth YIGF in 2019, 2 years ago, together with
Internet Việt Nam của Đại sứ quán Thụy Điển.
the Vietnam Internet Forum organized by Hanoi People's Committee and the Swedish Embassy in Vietnam, I was strongly supportive to that initiative, and I also hope that this will become a strong foundation for us to have a internet governance forum here in Vietnam at the national level, and then we will be joining more actively in this forum. or in the internet governance community, regionally and internationally. I'm getting back to my presentation on the 6C project. I would like to share my screen. Can you see my screen? Yes, we can see it now. Well, this project is not really relevant to youth or students in this forum. However, I just want to share some key information. This is on fostering diversity and gender empowerment in technical leadership of the internet industry in the Southeast Asia region. Actually, the name is very cumbersome and very complex because it covers multiple objectives, gender diversity, women empowerment in the technical area. We all know that the technical area, including the internet network governance or administration, they all have been dominated by the male counterparts. And this project aims at narrowing the gender gap, diversifying the engagement of women in this technical area to improve the rate of women in engagement. And this project is implemented by IPNIC Foundation. Before I talk about the project, I would like to share with you the IPNIC Foundation, which is implementer of this project. I would like to share a bit. IPNIC that is the founder of the IPNIC Foundation. Who is it in the internet ecosystem? What is its role? IPNIC is one of the 5 internet resource registration body in the region. They manage the IP resources, the digital resources to be allocated to the internet activities in the Asia Pacific region. In Vietnam, put it simply, once you have a home internet connectivity, the FTTH to your home, it needs an IP address to connect to the ISP. So where does the IP address come from? It is allocated to you regionally. However, because of the legal regulation here in Vietnam, the ISPs here, they do not get the IP addresses directly from IPNIC, but through VNIC from Madame Thuy's organization here in Vietnam. So the IPNIC presence here in the Vietnamese internet community is a little bit limited. So IPNIC is one of the 5 regional RIRs region globally. We have 5 IPNIC-like organizations in different geographical areas. They are called RIR. And then we also have a funny picture on the right-hand side when we talk about the relationships between the internet governance and the RIR. Recently, the RIR have been engaged in the internet governance very proactively. So it is a association of these 2 topics. And then the IPNIC Foundation, I would like to share that this organization is founded by IPNIC in at the end of 2016. It's been in existence for about 5 years now. And IPNIC is a membership-based organization, and the budget or revenue for IPNIC is from membership fees from its members. So IPNIC is tasked with serving its members. And the establishment of IPNIC is to serve the community in a more independent manner without any dependency on the polling or seeking for the consensus of its members in a traditional way. And by setting up IPNIC Foundation since 1993, IPNIC has got network relationships in this industry in the region, together with the independence of this foundation. It better supports communities through educational activities or community building activities, capacity building activities, or research and development in multiple different areas that have been supported by the IPNIC Foundation, of which we are honored to serve in one of the projects that I'm invited by the organizers to share with you in this forum. This project is supported by the Australian government, specifically the Department of Cyberspace Corporation under DFAT from May 2020 to May 2022. The scope of this project is in 4 countries: Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and the Philippines. The project initially designed to be a offline education and training program. The participants can be awarded a fellowship to join a training event or course in a organized in a traditional manner in in-person on-site training courses. However, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it spread down, so the offline on-site event was not organized, and the core team of the project decided to implement the project virtually in the online environment, and it changes comprehensively the organizational aspect with lots of difficulties and challenges that we have never faced previously. However, luckily enough, finally, we have a roadmap, and so far for almost 1 year of implementation, we started with the project implementation in Vietnam and the other 3 countries in Asia, starting with our network relationships. We circulated an invitation through emails to invite female participants. If they want to join this program, they just fill out a questionnaire online with their existing working position, their future action plans, and their expectation from the program. And after a month, starting in 2021, January, by the 30th, we circulated, sent out 600 invitations, and we got over 500 responses from 4 countries. And after screening, we selected 72 applications. We selected both female and LGBT through I+ participants, because under the title of the project, we look at the gender diversity. promoting the diversity from the gender perspective. However, this is a little bit difficult in Vietnam to recruit the LGBT participants to have well-fit participants. So mostly in Vietnam, we recruited all female participants without any LGBTQI plus participant. And we recruited 72 selected participants, and 74% of the 72 participants are young people under the age of 40. They're well fitted, that they're holding medium level managerial positions. They are also working in networking or network operational positions. They come from 52 different organizations with a very high level of diversity. For example, in Vietnam, we have participants from all of the internet ecosystem organization, including the state management authorities, ISPs. Most of the people are coming from ISPs, but we also have participants from educational and training sector, NGOs, non-governmental organizations in the internet industry. Put it simply, we have a diverse participants based from different internet ecosystem partners in the four Southeast Asia region. After recruiting the relevant participants, we allow them, we ask them to select. They sit down, looking through it, self-reflecting their objectives, to identify their objectives and to choose appropriate training courses for them. They are empowered to make a decision themselves. Previously, they are appointed or put into training courses by others. They are influenced by external factors, but here they are on their own. They are empowered to make decisions themselves, to select the training process that are aligned with their objectives in the internet industry. What do they want to be in the future? Will they want to be a CTO, a CIO, or a project manager in the long run? They think about their objectives in the 5 years or 10 years time span, and then they select the appropriate their training program or plan. And once the training plan is confirmed, the project will sponsor or finance the needed budgets, or with them an account for they joining the courses. And this is very different from the previous project, and it is first time ever to have this kind of project. The participants can have awarded an account to join the courses, with an online account to update their progress in the journey. For example, they update the things that are on track, and things they are completed, and in the done part. And once they are awarded a certificate, they upload their certificate in a certain function of the system, and they are proactively managing their account in the system, managing their own information on the platform. And the project team will supervise the participants or the students through a dashboard, some up-to-date information. As I said in the previous slides, we recruited 72 good candidates, and we invited them to submit their training plans, but in the end we got only 70 training plans, and 2 of them decided that they do not have enough time to follow the agenda, so they dropped out before submitting their training plans, and the 70 students, 6 from Cambodia, 9 from Malaysia, and in the Philippines, in Vietnam, 20 of them. There are interesting information on their appetite. For example, the appetite of the people from Cambodia, Philippines, and Vietnam and Thailand are different. The flavor are different in terms of course selection. In the Philippines, the students are more leaning towards Cisco academics, or in Vietnam they choose LinkedIn, Coursera, or the platforms that we can see clearly the differences. The trends or the selection are different from the countries. What's more, the Philippines are much better in terms of English competency. We are all aware of that. However, the Cambodian students are also much better off in terms of English compared to the participants from Vietnam and Cambodia, because we convened a coaching section with the participations of international mentors on self-development or leadership development, and in those sessions we didn't have to use interpreters for the Cambodian and the Filipino students, but for Vietnamese and Thai students, we have always provided interpreters, and we have 339 courses confirmed, and 71 out of the courses, percentage of the course have started, and 47% of the courses have been completed. 41% of the learners have been awarded certificates. So 41% of the 339 courses have been completed, and the students have been awarded a certificates uploaded to the CESA. And we are also having mentoring sections, not only to launch the personal development activities, we also provide them with mentoring activities on different topics, on technical topics. For example, people from Thailand, they selected topics on network security for their future career development. However, in Vietnam, the Vietnamese participants selected the cloud computing as their topic, and those are the update information of the Switch C project. And in the time to come, we are going to expand our support, wider our support for scientific research. The project will have 14 posts for scientific research. They can register for their keynote speech in international forums on a technical aspect of the network, or they can also write a paper or a policy review paper to be reported at the forums. And each of the research project will be funded at a maximum of 4,000 Australian dollars. And I think in Vietnam, one of the students has submitted and got funded. Other countries, there are also people who submitted, but not many. So you are still, the door is still open for you to have an opportunity to register for the scientific research funded by this project. In addition to that, we have also committed to Asia engagement program. The idea is to connect HR departments of the operators, ISVs, and organizations in the internet industry for our survey, looking at the recruitment processes to see if there's any existing gap between recruiting male and female candidates for a certain technical position? Is there any only positions or employments that are for male only? Because we are looking at gender diversity from a technical leadership perspective in the internet industry. So we need to look at the existing recruitment processes to see if there is a barrier to include the female leaders into the position. So it is our idea for the HR engagement. At the moment in Vietnam, we are scheduling to work with some ISPs who appointed their their employees to attend this project, but we haven't got any specific engagement. Hopefully in the November this year, we are going to start this exercise. And so far to date, we are switch gear. We switch gear at the end from on-site training or implementation to online implementation. But we think things are going well, on track, and I think it opens up opportunities for us to go further into this exercise. And currently, the team is the public. Public Foundation is having a plan to implement next year activity. Expanding this project not only within 4 but to 8 countries in Southeast Asia, and as long as it is in the Southeast Asia, the name is still SecDev. C means Southeast Asia, and SecDev is the abbreviated name of the project. And in the long run, the C may be dropped out, and the project can name will only be SecDev. For us not to be limited within the Southeast Asia region, but it is our long-term vision. It is also dependent on our funding from our sponsors in order to decide to continue with this project implementation and the scope of the project in the future. So in short, there are basically 2 key messages. A totally new novel approaches of this project to the participants of the project. They are empowered and given opportunities, which is a novel approach in their own personal development roadmap. The participants are empowered to decide on their future career development in the future. They decide themselves on what to learn, what to follow. They are under heavy load because they have already been very busy with their office work, and they have babies at home, and they are overloaded with housework. But they are making every effort. Sometimes they make use of their free time at night or over the weekend to join the project, and I think that is a reflection of their strong commitment for their personal development. They have found their road map or the path for their personal development. That's it from me. I would like to wrap up my presentation here, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you.
Cảm ơn phần chia sẻ của
Thank you, Ms. Nhung, for your sharing. So Ms. Nhung will remain with us as mentor for the young people, so you can put questions to her in the subsequent parts of the forum. So on that note, we have concluded the morning session. Our forum is in 2 days, the 6th and 7th of November. So before you leave, we would like to go through the afternoon session. In the afternoon, we'll begin at 1:30 with 4 topics, 4 talk shows revolving around internet governance. Talk show 1 and talk show 3 point 3. One is digital transformation. The speaker is Ms. Khuyến from General Manager of INEDU. And the second talk show is digital citizenship and the right of privacy. The speaker is Ms. Vân, officer in charge of capacity building and partnership development in Oxfam. And then from 15 to 17, we have 2 parallel talk shows. Digital transformation, job opportunities for young people. The speaker is Mr. Tuấn Anh, Director of International Program Training System, Uptech. And the 4th one is influence of AI on Internet users. The speaker is founder and CEO of Graphic Miner, Head of External Relations of Vietnet, Mr. Phương. So the link for the talk shows through Zoom has been sent to you. Please check your inbox so you can take part in the right talk show that is of your interest. So also we are broadcasting live these 2 talk shows on the YIGF Vietnam fan pages. Thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule in the weekend, attending our forum today, and see you in the afternoon. Goodbye and see you later.